Welcome to Weekend Night Live, hosted by Samuel Jacobs Abbey, where we play music, talk shows, and interviews on Be Inspired Podcast Network. Stay tuned and keep your dial on www.beinspiredpodcast.com. Don't forget to stay connected, be inspired, be unique, and be different.
Hello, my name is Quan Green, and I would love to share some products that I found that are very beneficial to not only my body, but I'm sure that they would really help your body. I found out that a lot of us are impacted and we need to be detoxed, and I found some wonderful products that will safely detox you and help you to eliminate the waste and feel good about yourself. We also have products that will help grow your hair and give your skin more vibrant radiance and suppleness and help with wrinkles. I also have products that will help with joint pain as well as help you to lose weight. These products are all natural, therefore you don't have to worry about putting something in your body that's going to add problems to the problems that you may already be facing. So if you're interested, please give me a call at 706-426-1471, or you can email me at preciousjewel492@gmail.com. Thank you and have a blessed day.
Wamaya, Wamaya, don't you? 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 Wamaya, Wamaya, don't you?
Okay. Hi, my name is Samuel Jacob Sabi, and I'm the host of Be Inspired with the Weekend Night Live with Samuel Jacob Sabi on Be Inspired Podcast Network. I just want to invite you and your family to tune in every Saturday at 3:30 p.m. Eastern Time and also at 7 p.m. GMT for those across the Atlantic Ocean to tune in to listen to inspiring voices, to listen to our interviews, individuals who have excelled in different forms of life. We bring them so they will be able to share their stories, and we know that their stories will have an effect on you. On Being Inspired Podcast Network, our mission and our goal is to empower people from around the world who have attained a certain height and sharing their stories to make a social change implication. Social change is very important, and it is important that individuals, families, society, and leadership spend time to acquire knowledge and skills to help formulate policies and ideas to help shape their communities. That is the more reason why I want to invite you again to tune in every Saturday at 3:30 p.m. Eastern Time and also at 7:30 GMT on Be Inspired Podcast Network. You can catch us up on www.beinspiredpodcast.network, or you can also join us on our Facebook at Be Inspired Podcast Network, and we can have fun. Once again, tune in and have fun. God bless
Ladies
you.
and gentlemen, I bring you greetings from the city of Woodbridge in the Commonwealth of Virginia. And I just want to thank all of you for staying tuned with us and being part of today's program. As most of you will be aware, the United Nations, which was established in 1948, is declared the Universal Declaration on Human Rights, which is the world most popular literature that ascribe to discuss the issues of fundamental human rights. And we are so privileged that in our term we have the opportunity to witness the 70 years of this declaration, and like I rightly mentioned throughout the week, that 70 years ago we never have these fundamental rights to even start with, meaning that people's rights were abused and individuals did not have the opportunity to be fairly represented. But 70 down the line, a lot of things have changed, and so today we are very privileged to discuss uh, 70 years of the UN Declaration on Human Rights, lessons learned. And we are so fortunate that I have a very good friend of mine. We work in the same office, and today we are so privileged to have him speak to us across the Atlantic Ocean. Bertrand, who is a very good friend of mine, is a Cameroonian human rights defender and international peace building expert with extensive experience in several African countries. Born in 75, trained as an economist, and later on as an anthropologist. Is the Deputy National Coordinator of the Cameroon Network of Human Rights Organizations. A position he combined with consultancy position with the World Bank, the United Nations, and other government institutions. I must say that Bertrand has tons of experience when it comes to youth work, when it comes to peace building and human rights. And so there's no other person who is so qualified to discuss the subject on 70 years of the United Nations Declaration on Human Rights, the lessons learned, than my good friend Bertrand TIENTCHEU, all the way currently consulting in the Rwanda. So today, folks, we are all the way in Rwanda. Let's welcome to the studios of Being Inspired Podcast Network my good friend Bertrand. Hey Bertrand, welcome to Being Inspired.
Hello, Sammy. How are you? Fine.
Very good. We are excited
Hello.
to have you. We are very, very excited to have you on our show today. And
Yes.
I went ahead to introduce you, but maybe I may be missing something. Is there anything you want to add up as a way of introducing yourself to our listeners who did not know you?
Well, I will just say I think you mentioned a very important aspect of my professional life, also personal life, and just also to say that of course we work together in Ghana for 3 extensive years, and currently I'm back to Cameroon and also involved in several human rights organizations over there. Currently I'm in Rwanda, where I have consulting work on the peace training, some peace builder, peace officials from various organizations across Africa towards the campus, which is called the University for Peace in Africa. So that is what I'm currently doing here in Ghana. I'm in Rwanda. I'm currently at in the small village called Muyaga in the monastery. That is where I'm responding to your call this evening. So, well, that is what I would say, and maybe in the course of our discussion, maybe people will discover more about me during the program.
Awesome. Thank you so much for finding some time. I know it's about 9:30 p.m. in Rwanda now, and thank you for staying up late just to be able to talk to us. So now, let's quickly go into some of your work before we come to the substantive conversation. I know you are actively involved in human rights activities and peace building across the African region.
Yes.
Do you want to take some time to tell us a bit of, go a little deeper of what you do and what inspires you to work for human rights and peace building processes?
Well, I will say that My engagement in human rights and also peace building started a very long time ago. So even when I was still a young person coming from the secondary school. And for the first time, I encountered the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. It was in 1997. I was still, no, 1995. I was still in the secondary school. We were having what we call at that time clubs. We had some clubs in the school. And so I first of all encountered this human rights, the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, the 10 rights of this declaration. Well, I was inspired by many great activists later on. Somebody like Gandhi, who inspired me very much. Somebody also like Martin Luther King, who also inspired me. These people inspire me in the way that they were so the way they engage, they sacrifice their life to fight for the right of their people. And so I thought maybe this could be a very exciting path to engage into. And so when I went to university and later on I also in 2005 I got to Ghana. And yes, we met in Ghana. And so we started doing human rights work over there. And also with peace building. So all this led me to this human rights journey. I call it as a journey. So since then I'm still in human rights work. Currently in Cameroon, when I came back to Cameroon, I joined several initiatives here at local level. I developed some activity to support youth participation in local governance that has to do with political participation. It is also another dimension of human rights. We did a lot of work on the protection of human rights defenders, how to develop their security and also protection mechanism. You know that human rights defenders sometimes face different difficulties in their works because of threats that they may encounter or even other pressure that they may receive from some authorities and also some government officials because of their human rights work. Then I continue working also on the economic and social cultural rights, where I was one of the facilitators of the platform. You know, in Cameroon we have another platform called the Platform for Economic and Social and Cultural Rights. It was in 2016 that I got elected as the Deputy National Coordinator of the Cameroon Network of Human Rights Organization, which is a network of around 200 human rights organizations in Cameroon spread across the country. So we have several members and also focal points in all the regions of Cameroon. And so we have three main thematic area or three main thematic avenues that we are now working in. We work on human rights protection and promotion itself, but also social cohesion. You know that peace and human rights are very much interconnected, because in the time of huge conflict, when peace is threatened, human rights also is threatened, because in time of conflict, people, the human rights may be abused. And so that is why we also have one area on the social cohesion. And social cohesion is one of the big issues that we have in Cameroon today. We have the situation in Far North region with the outbreak of terrorist group Boko Haram. That poses a lot of human rights challenges also. The security challenges as well. This is the situation in the east region of Cameroon, and now recently, the situation with what today is called in the Anglophone region of Cameroon, which is called the Anglophone crisis. So these are a lot of human rights challenges that we are now into. And so we have written several reports, human rights reports, we also engage into advocacy, advocating towards the government so that the government will implement human rights policy. And also, we have also developed several advocacy work at the UN, submitting report towards the different UN mechanism, including the special mechanism, that is special rapporteur, but also the Human Rights Council and also the treaties bodies. We send several reports to the Economic, Social, and Cultural Rights at the UN. So these are what we are actually involved into. We basically work more on how to implement locally the international human rights instrument that can ratify. The country has ratified international human rights instrument, and it's important for the country to implement those instruments. And so our work is also to monitor its implementation process and also provide support to government in order to develop this human rights policy, a public policy sensitive to human rights. So these are in a nutshell, all the different area of engagement where we are currently into when it comes to human rights.
Awesome. And thank you so much for spending some time and sharing this beautiful background with us. And of course, I am one person who knows exactly how well you have been actively involved in all these youth-related and global peace building and human rights works. Great job you guys have been working on so far. So before we go into the substantive question today, conversation today, let me say a good evening to my good friend Joshua Akayensu in Ghana. It's a pleasure to see you and to talk to you. God bless you. Bertrand, the question to you. First of all, let's have some few definitions just in to help people who don't really understand the process of our conversation. So now let's talk about the United Nations and the UN Declaration on Human Rights. What is the primary significance of the declaration of the 30 human rights in 1948? What was the significance?
Well, I think in 1948, this is an important period. 1948 is very significant, first of all, based on the history. The world is just coming from two world wars, which has created a lot of damage and has destroyed the humanity. So we have had the situation with the Nazi in Germany, and many other atrocities around the world. So, and also the colonialism in going on in Africa, in Asia, and also in some countries in Latin America. So the world is coming out of this very horrible and traumatizing societal situation. And so, and this situation also, this very hard moment also had an impact on the human consciousness as well. And so people started to think, okay, maybe we need to find a way now to find a common ground where humanity will come together in order to ensure that around the world, everywhere around the world, the human being is respected. But that is why all the nations of the United Nations, because also there was a time when the United Nations was also launched. And so the United Nations was created, and in the Charter of the United Nations, there is that the focus is on peace, but also on human rights. And so it was then important so that all the nations of the world come together and find a common ground, a common standard of what has to be, what it means to be a human being, a human person in this world. And that is why the nation came to have this declaration that gives some principle on how to deal with the human person, the human dignity. So that is, the significance that I can see in that Declaration of Human Rights. Hello?
Yeah, Bertrand, thank you so much for throwing that background. So it is clear that the 1948 declaration was for a purpose. Now, when we introduce the subject for people to throw in questions and comment and conversation, now one question that stood out to me was that a lot of people felt that 70 years down the lane, nothing has really changed. They thought that individuals and people fundamental rights are continually being abused all over the world. Um, I tend to
Mm-hmm.
disagree because I believe that in as much as we still have a long way to go, there has been a lot of improvement, and people and individuals, institutions have been brought to justice. But since these are the minds of people, from your own perspective, what do you think? The lessons learned since 1948. Do you think that the fundamental rights of people have drastically shifted? If so, what do you think, and why do you think it is so?
Well, I know when it comes to human rights, there are still a lot of complaints. People are complaining around the world. But I think 70 years after the declaration, I think the humanity has moved a very long way. And we cannot say that nothing has been done. The first thing is that this declaration at the beginning was just a set of value and principle, general principle about what is about the human rights of the person. But there was no legal constraint on because no legal constraint for any particular government. But later on, the several other events or several other instruments came in. First of all, the International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights came in, and then later on, the International Covenant on the Economic, Social, and Cultural Rights. Actually, these are the two types of human rights, or the two generations of human rights that is contained in the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, because the Universal Declaration of Human Rights considers the civil and political rights, and also the economic, social, and cultural rights. Now, with the advent of those international covenants, the government began to be bound to that instrument, which are more legally constrained. They are more. They create more constraint to the government. Once the government has signed the covenant, the government is bound to implement it in its legislation and also in its policy at local level, because, as you know, the government is the first human rights implementer. The first, the government is when we talk about the responsibility to protect or responsibility to promote, the government is the first actor who is responsible in promoting the human rights. Several also mechanisms were established, like treaty bodies and also the Human Rights Council. This mechanism has created a framework to encourage and also to put pressure to pressurize government so that they will implement the provision of this instrument. And also within 70 years, the humanity, of course, we still have wars going on around the world in several regions. The humanity did not went through another huge world war. And also some African countries got their independence. Today we have democratic processes going on in Africa, although we still have some challenges when it comes to some countries with democracy. But at least we can see that all over Africa, for example, if you take the case of Africa countries, that people are now growing in their consciousness of human rights, and they are now the government are becoming more and more accountable towards the people. And so we can say that there are some change. Of course, we still have a lot of change. Mostly when it comes to the issue of economic and social and cultural rights, because the government will tell you that they don't have money, they don't have the budget limited to provide, to ensure maybe the right to education or the right to health for all. But at least there are some improvement going on. However, for political rights, though we have today several challenges when it comes to security because of terrorism in many African countries. The fight against terrorism and also is making the Trump government to put more emphasis on security. But also, a part of that, the civil society is also vocal in trying to promote this idea of respecting human rights even in the fight against terrorism. So I will not say that we don't have nothing has done. A lot of things have been done. Those mechanisms, even today, have also the right of the different categories. The women rights also. We had the international mechanism to protect. To deal with on the issue of discrimination against women. The right of the people living with disability, the right of the indigenous people, all those instruments are there, and there are a lot of mechanisms that people can use to defend their rights and to complain also against any type of human rights violation in their country. So I will not say that the nothing has been done. A lot of things has been done too. We still have a lot of challenge because human rights is a continuous fight, fighting all the time, and we need always all the time to review the processes. And so I would say that nothing has been done since 70 years so far.
Very good, a very good response. And I have a question coming from Robert in Sydney, Australia. And Robert says, hey, yeah. Bertrand, thank you so much for spending some time with us. Wow, you're talking all the way from Rwanda. Thank you so much for staying up late and sharing your thoughts. My question to you is that if indeed the fundamental rights of people are respected, just as the preamble of the UN Declaration of the Human Rights says, then why do we continue to have individual rights abuses? Now, you had mentioned also that government is the main actor when it comes to the implementation of the fundamental human rights. Of course, the UN declarations are not legal laws, but they are just norms which countries can choose to act or not. We've seen a lot of abuses all over the world. Let's take particularly Cameroon. We continue to see in the news all the trouble going on in that country, and government has deliberately refused to come to the aid of the Francophonies in Cameroon. So in this situation like this, how will you describe the aftermath of the 70 years of fundamental human rights declaration?
Well, I said that it is true. We still have a lot of challenge when it comes to human rights, and there's still some abuses going on, you see. So, you see the case of Cameroon, I say that, yes, of course, the instruments are not legally bound to the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, but there are some instruments that are legally bound to government. The Cameroon has ratified the International Covenant of Civil and Political Rights. This covenant actually are legally bound, and also the Constitution of Cameroon says very clearly that Cameroon is Cameroon support and Cameroon also promote the principle and the values contained inside the Universal Declaration of Human Rights and also other instruments, human rights instruments. So through that constitution, the Cameroon government or the Cameroon state is saying that it is bound to protect human rights of people. Of course, we have a lot of some government agents, and also I think, for example, the issue of security today. Some government are using the security measure or the security policy in the way they think it is only about military. And so what we are doing now as civil society is to let the government understand that security is not just about military. And security is first of all the security of the people. So security also is a right. So you have what we call human security. You have physical security, you have food security, you have social security. So these are all the elements of society, and we cannot today treat security just from a military perspective. Yes, the government is not too much open to some of the aspects of human rights, but it will be done only through pressure, international pressure, but also through the local pressure with the civil society organization. We have to train the citizens so that the citizens become accountable to their government. You have mentioned the issue about the Anglophone crisis. We are working as the human rights organization on this crisis. We have created a working group, a civil society working group, and we are pushing the government to tell them that they cannot keep using or responding by responding through military action. We need to establish this dialogue to allow all the citizens of the country, to allow those who are from this region and who are from this linguistic background, that is Anglophone, to raise the issue and also to discuss and to create a space for dialogue and to find a way to solve this problem. That's what we are doing. Yes, the government, most of the government around the world, most of the time, they seem to sometimes they seem to give away their responsibility to protect and also their responsibility to promote and the responsibility to rest. So all the time we'll be calling the government to these three types of responsibilities. We have the responsibility to protect, we have the responsibility to promote, and also the responsibility to protect, to respect. So that's what I will take it. Yes, you still have some challenges, but the civil society, the citizens around the world need to be trained, need to be informed, and need to mobilize themselves to keep pushing the government so that they become more accountable to their citizens.
Got you. Thank you so much for spending some time to talk about these things. We will take a quick commercial break, and when we come back, we will go straight to all of our questions, and Bertrand will be more than willing to tell us more. So let's quickly pause for this music, and we'll come back.
Is upon my soul. I will dance like David danced. Hey, I will dance. I will dance. I will dance like David danced. I will dance. I will dance. I will dance like David danced. When the Spirit of the Lord is upon my soul, I will dance like David danced. When the Spirit of the Lord is upon my soul, I will dance like
welcome to Weekend Night Live, hosted by Samuel Jacobs Abbey, where we play music, talk shows, and interviews on Be Inspired Podcast Network. Stay tuned and keep your dial on
Hello,
www.
my name is Quan Green, and I would love to share some products that I found that are very beneficial to not only my body, but I'm sure that they would really help your body. I found out that a lot of us are impacted and we need to be detoxed, and I found some wonderful products that will safely detox you and help you to eliminate the waste and feel good about yourself. We also have products that will help grow your hair and give your skin more vibrant radiance and suppleness and help with wrinkles. I also have products that will help with joint pain as well as help you to lose weight. These products are all natural, therefore you don't have to worry about putting something in your body that's going to add problems to the problems that you may already be facing. So if you're interested, please give me a call at 706-426-1471, or you can email me at preciousjewel492
Hola, estás con
at
Kevin.
gmail.com.
Seguí escuchando a Weekend Night Live with Samuel Jacobs Abbey en Be Inspired Podcast Network. Mantenete con...
Alrighty, so welcome back to the studios of Be Inspired, and we still have my good friend Bertrand, who is all the way in Rwanda, and discussing the 70 years of the existence of the United Nations Declarations on Human Rights, the lessons learned. So Bertrand, welcome back.
Thank you. Well, thank you.
Good. Another question coming from Sierra Leone, and the question here is coming from Bangura, and Bangura said, thank you so much, Bertrand. My question to you is that what are the responsibility of individuals in ensuring that 70 years from now, all atrocities and abuses of human rights will come to a stop? Do you have any practical suggestions that you want to suggest to this group that will enable young people particularly to be empowered to respect and appreciate the fundamental rights of everyone around them, including themselves?
Yeah, thank you for this important question. It is, I think, at the core and in the heart of human rights, when it comes to human rights. I would like to say that the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, in one of its articles, talk about the responsibility, dimension of responsibility. So you have rights, but you also have responsibility, and the responsibility is not just the responsibility of the government, but it's also the responsibility of each individual. Responsibility will then mean that all of us, we are entitled to defend and to promote, to protect, and also to promote human rights around the world. Of course, the government is I would say the first human rights promoter or human rights defenders. But since 1998, the UN came with what they call the Declaration on the Human Rights Defenders. So the Declaration on Human Rights Defenders says that each individual is entitled, has the right to get involved in promoting or protecting human rights. In that sense, the young people today, Africa is considered to be a youthful continent with more than 50% of the population with youth. That means less than 30 or even less than 25 years. So I think the young people, human rights is today a venue where the young people will exercise their citizenship, their citizen awareness to be involved in promoting these rights. So I think one of the things that we have to do today is first of all to bring the children, the young people to their responsibility. That means to train them to raise their awareness on their responsibility as citizens in their society. As individuals, they have to be committed to support everywhere and to defend the right of their right, first of all, but also the right of other people. So it will pass through training, it will pass through awareness campaign, it will also pass through the giving to young people the space, public space or space to let their voice be heard. So we need young people today to be involved in human rights, and we think that that can be done through human rights education in the school, in the clubs, where they can be groomed, they can be trained to become real human rights activists or human rights defenders. So these are one of the thing I think we have to focus on in order to make sure that 70 years from now, the human rights abuses will reduce. This through training, through capacity building, because these young people, they will be tomorrow the leaders. There will be those who will be leading the country. There will be those who will be developing policy and also implementing them. So if from today they are trained in schools, once they are growing up, to raise their awareness, their human rights and even human dignity awareness, then once they will come to power, they will be capacitated to understand that they have to create a space where the human rights are respected. So that will start from now by fostering this dimension of education and also capacity building for young people, but also supporting youth organizations, supporting youth associations, so that they get more and more involved in the human rights field.
Got you. Thank you so much for that detailed analysis and the suggestion as to how to empower young people, or particularly individuals, to take personal responsibility to ensure that they protect the fundamental rights. And you are so true, because like I rightly said in my introduction, 70 years ago, none of these fundamental rights existed. There were no basis on which one could be held accountable. And so 70 years down the lane, I strongly believe that a lot have changed, and people have now, it has now become a norm that people will use the rigors of the law to ensure that individual rights are protected. Now, I have a question coming from Keith, and Keith is writing from Liberia. And Keith said, yes, Liberia, we've had our own share of human rights abuses. Lessons learned. I always want to suggest that we are always a better people when we dialogue. And let me ask Bertrand, what is his perspective on using dialogue as a way of promoting fundamental human rights?
Yes, that's also, this is a very important aspect, dimension that this listener is raising. I think dialogue is fundamental when it comes to human rights. Dialogue. You know, this is actually in our network one of our principles. One of our principles is to create dialogue and also to promote dialogue among the actors. Dialogue will give the space for the various actors of the society, the state, government, the civil society, the private sector, the religious leaders, the traditional rulers, and all the other actors of the society to come together and discuss on the various issues. If them dialogue, will not be able to listen to the voice of everyone, the voice of the voiceless, giving the voice to the voiceless so that they can also raise their concern in the space which is well organized, where they will raise their concern, and also so that the interests are also taken into consideration. So one of the things that we do is much more to promote this dialogue. bring those actors together and to reflect. Once there is a policy, once the policy, the law is being before is enacted, we need to meet with all the stakeholders to discuss with it, so that everyone can bring its own input. So that is really a key instrument, a key tool to make the human rights to become a reality in our society today. Because if no dialogue with the government will not be possible to listen to all this, to all the perspectives. Dialogue will also help us to have a common understanding. Because most of the time, we have problem of implementing human rights because we may not have the same understanding of the law. Different actors have interpretation of the law, but through dialogue, we can come together and create a link in between all those perspectives and have a common ground, a common understanding. Dialogue even at international level, when you have with the councils at the Human Rights Council, these are space for dialogue, where the state will come, each state will come together in a constructive dialogue that would help gradually the state into review to be open to more to reform its policy and improve its human rights framework. So I would really say that dialogue is key in the human rights implementation. Because without dialogue, I don't see how it will be possible to have that common understanding. Because even the UN declaration came after a very huge dialogue. There were a lot of perspectives. You have the perspective of France, the perspective of the Britain, the perspective of the Eastern country, and today we have this situation. I would say this opposite situation, because in one side the human rights is about universality, but today we have this rising of relativism, cultural relativism. If we don't dialogue, we will not be able to come with a common understanding from our relativistic perspectives. We will have different perspectives, cultural perspectives. So with all this relativism today, we need to come together to create a space where we can dialogue and we can come to a win-win approach, a win-win cooperation, where people will work together to improve, to the human rights become a reality.
Absolutely. Because human rights cannot just become a idealistic dream. It must be made a fact, meaning that it must be very relevant to our communities and our societies. Thank you so much, Bertrand, for giving us this insight. Now let me go to Kenya. I have a question coming from Kenya, and the question here says that thank you so much. So now, one of the fundamental principles of the human right, it's a right to education. Does not necessarily mean that all the other rights are not important. But with right to education, there are a lot of young people lingering around Africa who don't have any form of education or are not in school. Do you consider that aspect of the fundamental rights as a failure? Because if everyone has the right to education, why is it that some do not?
Yes, the right to education is actually it's called it's one economic and social cultural right. It's within this second generation of human rights, which are called the right economic, social, and cultural rights. And the economic, social, and cultural rights have their specificity that these are, sometimes it is called the resource right. That means those rights are linked to the resource, and they are also very much depend more on the resource. That means on the finance, that is the budget that the government needs. And it is still a big challenge there. When you see a country like Cameroon, Cameroon has adopted the principle, the idea of this universal free education. The primary education at least should be free. But we still have a lot of challenges. There are regions in Cameroon where the schools are not built, where the children will not be able to go to school because sometimes of because of cultural constraint or because of economic constraint. I personally supported, I'm involved, I'm a consultant now in a project with the Ministry of Basic Education of Cameroon, which is funded by the World Bank. The project is to see how to improve the equity and also the quality of the education, mostly in the rural area. It is very much affected by this challenge, this problem of education. And that position has made me to visit several regions of Cameroon, mostly in the far north, and also in some other regions in the south, where I was very shocked to realize how it is so difficult and so complicated to some children to be able to go to school and to be able to have a framework where they could have a quality education. This is really a challenge, and I understand. On that level, I would say that most of our states, even here in Africa, they haven't yet succeeded so much. Although the international community is trying as much as possible through what is called there is this program, international program on to support education, which is within the framework of the World Bank. Several initiatives are going on like that to see how to support the government in improving the quality of the education, but also to facilitating these young people, these children in mostly in the rural area, and also sometimes in some urban area. You have a lot of children living in the slums in the urban area where they don't have a lot of school facility. So we still have the government still has a lot to do on that area of the right education. Though at the policy level or even at the legal level, the government says that they want the right to education because in the Cameroon Constitution, legally in the Cameroon Constitution, it is well stated that the government has the responsibility to ensure education to all. Yet, because the right to education is a resource right, the government needs resource. And the government then should use all the financial instruments that exist, either local but also international. But I will go more for local possibilities. There are a lot of local possibilities that exist within the communities and that the government should support. You have the local council in Cameroon, for example. The local council now have the responsibility to support the basic education. That is the primary education. So then that means the local council must be more strengthened and more supported in increasing the capacity to provide and to create a local environment where that will give possibility to children to go to school. You have also the association of parent teachers at local level. Sometimes those association of parent teachers also develop mechanism where they collect the local resources, they collect funding at local level to build schools. These are possibilities that we can use at local level to help to support the right education of the children.
So much for these details, and you are right. Now, I have a question coming from Uganda, and it's from Peter. And Peter said, "Let me ask you a very direct question: Is United Nations still relevant today? What do you think?"
Well, this is a very direct question, and also it's not an easy question. Yes, we know that when we see the event occurring around the world, the United Nations has been very, very much fragilized, and with the rise of nationalistic, I would say nationalistic consciousness, we can see today the US is trying to push away the UN, the United States is trying to just escape the UN, and you have other countries who are trying just to push away the United Nations. All these all these have an effect that it looks like it may appear that the United Nations today is no more relevant, because we can see there are a lot of problems going on. There are a lot of war. The UN security forces, they don't actually succeed to end war around the world. But I would say it is not because the UN has been weakened that we may think that the UN, an instrument or an institution, a global institution like the UN, is no more relevant. I think there are issues that need to be addressed globally today. There are a lot of issues that need to be addressed globally. We cannot just keep working and thinking that we are going to solve all our problems by remaining in between our borders. When you see only this issue of terrorism, the terrorism today cannot be addressed if we remain as a single country. So we need to address it globally. And so it means a structure, an institution that like the UN will remain relevant from my perspective. Though the UN remain is a little weak today, but it doesn't mean that the UN is no more relevant. There are a lot of things in this world that we need to address collectively and support it collectively. Of course, we need also to that means the challenge I thought is how to restructure that institution, how to reform that institution in order to make it to be more operational, to be more effective in the field. That is what I would say.
Thank you very much. Folks, I know you guys are enjoying yourself and you're having fun, but it is already 10:30 p.m. in Rwanda, and we are already out of time. And so I just want to take this opportunity to thank all of you for listening and for your questions. I know there are a lot of questions coming in, and I'm also excited that Bertrand is doing a very good job giving some strategic responses as to how we can make the world a better place for all of us to live in. Again, like I said, the 30 declarations of the United Nations, Universal Declaration on Human Rights, by themselves are not legal binding. They are not laws, but they are sort of norms that we've all ascribed to, and of course there are other international instruments like the International Criminal Court and International Court of Justice and all that, to ensure that the fundamental rights of both individuals, states, and countries are well respected within the framework I just want to thank all of you for listening from around the world, and thank you, Bertrand, for your time with us. Before we wrap up, Bertrand, we come back to you to give us your wrap up recommendation and some advices here and there, and then we'll call it quit for the night.
Well, I would say that I'm very appreciate this initiative of calling me, giving me this opportunity to talk about the 70 years Universal Declaration of Human Rights. I think 70 years means the human right is not too old. The human right is still very new. I will not say that nothing has been done. I would rather say we are moving gradually, and I hope in the years to come, human rights, the world government will become more and more accountable to their responsibility when it comes to human rights protection, human rights promotion, and also human rights respect. I will also suggest that the citizens of the world, they also have their responsibility. We cannot just leave everything to the government. As a citizen, we have to be committed. We have to work in collaboration, in dialogue, in all the across borders to promote and to push for policies, also laws in the government that will be sensitive to human rights. So human rights is for all of us. It's not just for government. And we are citizens of this world. We have our responsibility, and we should take our responsibility to make the human rights become a fact around us. That is what I would say.
Thank you so much, Bertrand. Thank you so much for sharing this time with us. We are very grateful. I wish you all the best in Rwanda and your family as well. And we look forward to you anytime you come to the United Nations, pass by and visit us here in the US. God bless you. Enjoy the rest of your evening with your friends.
Welcome to Weekend Night Live, hosted by Samuel Jacobs Abbey, where we play music, talk shows, and interviews on Be Inspired Podcast Network. Stay tuned and keep your dial on www.beinspiredpodcast.com. Don't forget to stay connected, be inspired, be unique, and be different.